We've got a Bigfoot. Mother truckers, now check this out. This is by far and away one of my favorite kits to come out this summer. The iJoy Saber is still my favorite starter kit for someone who's never vaped if they want a single battery system. If you want a dual battery setup with much more power, including variable wattage and temp control, this is where it's at. This is by far and away the best kit tank that I've ever used, period, plain and simple. This is the first mesh tank I've ever received that I've actually not only liked, but think is superb. This thing is above and beyond any tank I've ever used in a kit. That does not include something like the Freemax Firelook, my daily vape. However, I will say that the Metis tank is a damn solid contender with my personal favorite daily tank, being the Freemax Firelook. Bitch, it's okay, Mother truckers. Now, if you want to be a part of this ginormous giveaway that's back there, do so by hitting me up on patreon.com/ThesisHimself. That's the best way to support independent reviewers such as your boy. With that being said, don't forget to hit me up on Instagram at ThesisHimself, Twitter and Snapchat at ThesisHimself, and then of course, hit subscribe, notification bell, and then comment below. I want you guys to let me know what your thoughts are on mesh coils in general. This being a mesh tank, I'm super excited to bring it to y'all. Now, with that being said, Mother truckers, let's go and get up close and personal with the Rincoe Manto. Welcome to Up Close and Personal with your boy Thesis. Now peep game, son. Now y'all know me as an honest motherfucker, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. It is very few far and in between where tanks come across my desk that I'm impressed by on a genuine level. When I say impressed, I mean something that can replicate the flavor of my Vape Dude's Ice right here. And this bad boy does that shit. It just does. There is no argument around it. Check out the packaging. Is what it is. One Manto, 228 watt mod, so on and so forth. The one thing that I'm going to say is that it's got this 3D user interface. I'm not sure what they're referencing. The only thing I can tell about this screen is that it's set super deep inside of the plastic, so it kind of looks like it's a lot larger than it is. So let's go and open up the box, see what you receive with it. You do get the mod that sits right here, as well as the tank that sits just below that. Right share. Of course, right here you've got your goodies bag, 510 drip tip adapter. Thank you so much for including that. That's one of the things that I much appreciate. If you're going to make a tank, please include options. And then of course we got the charging cable right here, and this is another thing I look for. If a company sends out a tiny ass USB cable, it's just not something that I appreciate. I like something that feels a little bit more girthy, and this one's running around 3 feet. That right there, again, will go to tell you the quality of the company. So the last time I received a Rincoe device would be the Cito, and then the Cito to me was a very high quality feeling pod system. That's something that I look for in any company. How does it feel? Is the heft there? Is the quality there? Does it feel like it's going to break? Now this is a 228 watt device. I'm running it at 80 watts at 0.14 ohms with the mesh coil, not the hive coil. There's a difference between the two. This here is the hive coil, so it actually looks like a hive. This one's mesh. You can see that the thatching is a lot closer than it would be on the hive. The hive seems to have a little bit less material. So with that aside, also the hive does tend to have a little bit better cloud production, especially at higher wattage, and it does perform a little bit better above 70 watts. I would say closer to 100 watts. Where the Metis tank mesh coils, these guys here, don't necessarily perform that great at higher wattages, and they're the same resistance. With that being said, I do think the design of the tank is absolutely beautiful. I cannot thank Rincoe enough for making this a bubble tank. Most of y'all watching this know I prefer a bowed out tank like this. Bubble tanks are my preference because they do hold more milliliters. It is 28 millimeters by 46 millimeters. The tank capacity is 6 milliliters. That is exactly what I want to see, a large capacity tank. That way we can mitigate filling throughout the day. The drip tip that it comes with is absolutely gorgeous. This is an 810 drip tip. You've got yourself an O-ring on the interior as well as 2 O-rings on the exterior of the drip tip. Again, that's something I like to see. It keeps it nice and snug, not having to worry about it falling out. The top threads are fucking smooth. Look at that. Not one bit of noise. 2 gaping holes on either side. That way when you're filling it up, the air can escape from the opposite direction, which I always love to see. You can fill this with virtually any style of bottle, whether it be an eyedropper, whether it be a regular Gorilla bottle. Look at the size of the chimney. That's going to give you an idea of what the airflow is like. So airflow is by far and away one of the most important aspects in chase and flavor, and this is no different. Whew. The clouds you develop on this tank are ridiculous. Watch this. Airflow and surface area is really the secret in gaining flavor. This thing has all of those going for it. 3 giant slots on the bottom for airflow. You get virtually 0 resistance, something that I love. Now, something I think worth pointing out is the fact that you can see some liquid inside of the 510. That is from this tank. It does leak a tad bit. It's definitely not a break it sort of deal. For me, that's pretty normal when you're running high wattages, especially on a tank of this caliber. So this is a spring-loaded 510 right there. Bam, you can see it drops down. It's a fair amount of play. I want to say a solid 2 millimeters. It's not huge, it's not small, it's just right, exactly where it needs to be. The 510 threads on here are exactly what you would expect for a budget device. They're not perfect. You can definitely hear them when you screw the tank on and off. Again, not perfect, but it's exactly what you would expect for a mod at this price. Now, that's something I wanted to touch on too. I'm not 100% sure what they're going to go for, judging by previous kits and also other companies and competitors. I'm going to say this thing's going to range between 55 and 75 bucks. Anywhere between that price range is going to be solid. That is going to be exactly where it needs to be. Now, the device itself is extremely intuitive. If you've been vaping for some time, you will need no tutorial or no instructions. 1, 2, 3 gets you into the menu. Up to variable wattage mode, which is where I prefer to stay. Temperature control mode, of course. Settings, go ahead and click that one time. Say you want to go to, I don't know, color, to pick the color scheme. Or to go ahead and go to purple because of the Minnesota Vikings. Hit that one time. If you want to go back in the menu, you push and hold the button once. If you want to go back again, push and hold the button again. Bam, perfect. On the bottom, you're going to see where it cuts off at 10 seconds. You push and hold that. Oops, let's go ahead and grab an atomizer. At 80 watts, push and hold it, and that little bar is going to go from the left to the right. And of course, when it gets to the 10 seconds, it will stop, which is a perfect safety feature, especially if you got this in a purse or in a pocket. The buttons themselves are extremely clicky. They are plastic, they're not metal. They also don't feel cheap. When I plugged it into the meter, it looked like it was charging at around 0.7 amps, which isn't fast, it's not slow, it's right where it needs to be. Especially with any given batteries, the slower you charge the batteries, the better it is for them. Now, the one downside about this device is you can see I got my knife out, and anytime you've got a surface that's this shiny, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to see in the sunlight, but on top of that, it also scratches fairly easy. All I did was just graze this atop the screen, and you can see there's a pretty deep scuff mark right there. Now, this one is the brushed version, so you're not going to have quite as many issues with paint. However, you can see if I just brush it across the bottom, you do got the scratches right there. It is kind of annoying, but that's, you know, that's what you expect for a $60 device. Bitch, it's okay. Smell the truck is done. With that being said, let's go and get back to regular view, son. Welcome back to regular view, son. Now, the Manto kit by Rincoe is by far and away the most simplest yet effective kits that's come across my desk. There's something to be said about a dual 18650 device that can be picked up by virtually anybody and then used. Not only are you getting a dope-ass setup in terms of just the mod, but the tank is really what shines here. You can put this tank on literally any device and it's going to shine. The mesh coils I was worried about at first. I threw my menthol in there, and I tell you what, I was so surprised by the flavor, because the flavor by my Freemax Fire Luke and my menthol, the combination is literally drop dead perfect. I've never found a tank that actually can replicate the flavor that my Freemax Fire Luke does. The truth of the matter is that the Metis tank does. The reproduction of flavor on this tank is second to none. Literally, it is, dare I say, it's virtually identical to the Freemax Fire Luke original, not the bullshit mesh one, but the real version. Especially when you add that 510 adapter, it is literally perfection. Now, again, I have tried the Hive version, I have tried the mesh version of coils. I will say the mesh version right now is where it's at. The Hive one I didn't use for quite long enough to really give a full-blown judgment on, although I can tell you it's better at higher wattages. With that being said, mother truckers, the proof is in the pudding. I gave this to my father-in-law, not this one, but the other version, for the simple fact that he was looking for a new device, and this is by far and away the best one that's come across my desk in terms of simplicity. Okay, mother truckers, now with that being said, on Thesis's patented finger compatibility scale, I'm going to give this bad boy a solid 9.2. With that being said, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment below. I want you guys to tell me what your honest thoughts on mesh coils are. This is definitely something I want to see more of. At first, I thought it was just a bullshit trend. Not only a bullshit trend, but I'm like, no one's going to actually spend time and develop these to the point where they're perfect. I was wrong. Either that or something's going on with these coils that I can't explain. It's that simple. Hawkeye, mother truckers, don't forget to hit my ass up on patreon.com/ThesisHimself, as well as Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at ThesisHimself. Check out my armpits. They're sweaty. I work my ass off on these videos. For the love of all that is good, hit my ass up. I'm not hard to find. Snapchat, I always reply. Instagram, always reply. Share this video. We're trying to grow the NinjaMilitia as large as possible. I want to see 20,500 subscribers by the end of this month. Hawkeye, mother truckers. Now, with that being said, I want to tell you that I appreciate y'all for vaping with Thesis. It is your boy Thesis. I'm out.